Get my 6.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid, the most popular homesteading channel on the entire internet. That has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. All right, so get my 6. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means watch behind. Especially when him, her, it, or they start throwing stuff at us, watch behind me. See if you can see who or what threw that. All right, so I got a really creepy story for you. It's a ghost story, and you've never heard it because I just edited it earlier today, okay? I've got news for you, and then I've got news for you, okay? You're thinking, wait a minute, Crazy Lake, this is why people call you crazy. Don't you mean good news or bad news? No, there's no such thing as good news or bad news. There's just news. And then there's the importance or the emotion that you attach to it or place on it. It's news. It's what it is, man. Okay, so here's what's going on. So I've been telling you that I'm trying to finish a literary project I've been working on for a couple of years, trying to get it done by the end of this calendar year. I got writer's block. It happens. I hit a wall. So that's part of the news. The other news is I'm doing what I know I need to do to get out of it, and that's to stay busy and work on other writing projects. And as such, this is a story that's going to be published in the upcoming True Hauntings Volume 4. Yeah, you heard that? You folks who like to submit these stories to the channel at crazylake@mail.com. Again, the email address is crazylake@mail.com. If you want your story to be considered for True Hauntings Volume 4, and it'll be in there, but listen, do me a favor, keep it around 1,000 words. And I know not everybody's a writer, not everybody's an editor, but everybody can proofread their own work. Don't just type something out and send it. Go through and proofread it and catch the things you can, like, you know, whatever it is you can catch. Punctuation, misspellings, grammatical errors. Even those of us who write, 1,000 to 5,000 words a day, we'll make some mistakes here and there, and you just go back, proofread it. That saves my time, Erie's time on editing. But if you got a creepy story, anything associated with the paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, UFOs, alien abductions, anything just weird, send it to us at crazylake@mail.com. I'm going to read you this one. And also, thirdly, more news. I want to ask you a big favor. I appreciate you supporting me here on this channel. I appreciate those of you who went over to support us at Sick Twisted Humor on Facebook and who support us on our Homesteading Off the Grid Facebook page. We have more than 1 million followers now, combined with those 3 units. I've started a Sick Twisted Humor TikTok, and here's why. For like months now, I've had people just come up to me randomly on the street and say, oh, hey, I watch you on TikTok, or hey, you're the funny guy that I watch on TikTok. And I always assume it's the Facebook Reels from Sick Twisted Humor. Well, this weekend we were at a sporting clinic, and one of the coaches, a guy I've never met, in charge of the program, comes up to me and he goes, hey, are you that guy that tells all those funny jokes on TikTok? Well, I finally said, you mean YouTube, or you mean Facebook? Because I make YouTube shorts now here at Homesteading Off the Grid, the most popular homesteading channel on the internet. That has nothing to do with homesteading. Yeah, bro, I'm sipping my coffee. It's iced coffee, or at least it was. The ice melted. It's 86 degrees today. So anyway, I said that. I said, don't you mean Facebook or YouTube? He goes, no, I mean TikTok. And he actually pulled out his phone and he showed me. I guess there are some wannabes out there, some people who wish they were successful social media content creators, who aren't, and so they steal other people's content and they publish it as if it's their own. But long and short of it is, there are people out there getting millions of views from my content by screen recording it in reverse off of Facebook or YouTube and then uploading it on TikTok. And I was like, what? So today I kind of started a TikTok, and it's called Sick Twisted Humor, just like the Facebook page. And so I'd appreciate it if you go over there and follow me and watch the jokes there. Because, listen, if anybody's going to be making money off of my efforts anywhere, it's going to be me. You know, one of my best traits, something I've always considered to be one of my best traits, is that I'm not greedy. I've never been greedy. I know what it's like to go without, because I've spent many years in my life without, growing up in Appalachia. Then, of course, when I was down and out in the Philippines for many years, wondering where my next meal is going to come from. So when my needs are met, which they are today, and when I want for nothing, like I don't want it for anything today, I'm grateful, and I certainly don't feel entitled to more. And just for a lack of another way to say it, I don't want more. I'm content, and I'm grateful. I know I'm blessed, but that's also been one of the things that has held me back in business, not wanting more, just keep munching it up. But I don't like the idea of knowing that somebody's making, revenues off of my labors. These are my fruits. And so because of that, that's why I've started the TikTok thing. And then I'll, of course, be able to get those people shut down due to copyright infringement now, which I've done on here before. I've had people copy my videos and put them on their channels. I've had people send me links to it saying, hey, look what I did. They'll take my videos and add stuff to it. Heck yeah, I report you. You're not doing me no favors. You're trying to get me to do you a favor. Trying to get me to come on here and say, oh, go look at this dude's video. He just started a YouTube channel and lifted one of my videos and put hearts in it where it's his favorite spot, hoping I would tell you about that to send you over there to get him monetized so he can be a content creator. A successful one. Bruh, that ain't how it works. Go out there and do your own thing. You put in all the years of having people tell you you're lazy, you just don't want to work. That's not a real job. Creating 500, 600 videos without even getting paid because you're not monetized yet, before you finally get monetized, and then sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's how it works. You can't just go around stealing other people's work, Now, with all that said, I'm going to read you a story somebody wrote and sent me for an upcoming edition of True Hauntings. All right, so go over there to TikTok and follow me at Sick Twisted Humor. This story was written by Jonathan Kennedy. It's called The Haunted Hollow, okay? And you can get all the True Haunting volumes and all my other awesome books. I mean, the quality of your life is not nearly as high as it would be if you were to read Kevin Lake novels, available in print or Kindle on Amazon.com. Link is in the description box below. And if you want one with an autograph, you can get it from our Etsy store. Link in the description box below. Yes, autographed copy. Hey, I might not be rich and famous, but I'm middle class and somewhat popular. Popular enough for people to be stealing my stuff, taking my hard work, putting it out there on the internet. All right, this story written by Jonathan Kennedy, I'm going to share with you now here on the internet. Hello, Kevin and Erie. Kevin, I've been watching your YouTube channel, Homesteading Off the Grid, for years. I love it, especially the scary stories. They're right up my alley, and I have one of my own that I'm submitting for you here. You have my permission. Listen to this. This is the difference, brah, between me and you. I'm talking to the thieves. Thieves. You have my permission to use it however you'd like. Personally, I would love it if you were to include it in an upcoming volume of your True Hauntings. I actually have autographed copies of the first 3, and I plan on getting an autographed copy of each volume that you make. I read them over and over. The stories never get old or any less spine-tingling than the first time I read them. Permission, brah. Plus, it keeps you out of freaking copyright issues. So here's my story. It's Jonathan Kennedy's story. My family is originally from Kentucky, though I was raised and still live in Ohio. I bet they migrated there on the Hillbilly Highway, and everybody who's got roots back in Appalachia knows exactly what I'm talking about. When I was a kid, we'd go back and visit my grandparents on my father's side for nearly a month. We had so much fun swimming in the rivers and hiking through the mountains. We'd go trout fishing and camping. Some of the best memories of my childhood are from those summers spent in Kentucky. When I was a teenager, my parents allowed me to take my best friend, Timmy, with us to Kentucky one summer. He loved it as much as I did. Since I was older, and I had the company of Timmy, I found myself, along with Timmy, venturing out into the forest surrounding my grandparents' home further than I ever had. I clearly heard a growl. Footsteps. You know, I usually don't turn around and look because that goes against my own personalized him, her, it, or they research methods, in which I ignore their desire for attention, and let you guys pick it up in the back of the video. But I'm looking around these days because we have had all these supposed bear attacks in our county. Yeah, I don't think it's a bear, but it could be. So I'm just looking around. All right. Going out in the woods further than I ever had. One time we got out so far that we actually came upon a small community. It was a typical Appalachian Hollow community, pronounced holler. There were only about 8 houses, spread out about 50 yards apart. There was a road that came up the opposite side of the mountain that Timmy and I had scaled, and it ended just a little ways past the last house. Timmy and I watched in secret from the forest above the houses as some of the people who lived in this small community went about their day. I remember one old guy was splitting firewood with an axe in his yard. There were a few little kids playing some kind of game in the yard. We were too far away to tell just what game they were playing, and then there were a couple of houses where people were just sitting on their porches. Timmy and I made it off the mountain plenty of time before dark, and we were so excited to tell my parents and grandparents about the small mountain community we discovered and of the people we'd seen who lived there. We told them over dinner, and when we did, my father and his parents looked at each other. I'll never forget the look they exchanged. It was ominous, to the point that my mother said, "What's wrong?" "You boys need to stay off that mountain," my grandfather said. "You shouldn't have gone back that far," my grandmother said. "Don't you ever get stuck up there after dark," my father said. "Why?" my mother said, asking the question that Timmy and I both had for us. "Pass the beans," is all my father said, and that meant that the conversation wouldn't be discussed further. Yep, that's how the folks communicate back in Appalachia, Stan. Remember that well. The following week, Timmy and I told my folks that we were going to tent camp out in the woods, just beside the house. There was a stream there that they stocked with trout about a mile above my grandparents' place, and we said we wanted the birds to wake us up at the crack of dawn so that we could start fishing our way upstream. They bought it hook, line, and sinker, no pun intended, and gave us permission. However, we did not go camping where we said we were going to go camping. We trudged up the mountain and set up our camp just above the hollow community we'd discovered. Actually, we'd set our tent up in the big wide spot where the road, which came up the other side of the mountain we'd ascended, ended. It was all grown up like a meadow and about 200 yards past the last house. With the leaves on the trees for the summer, no one could see us from the community. Timmy and I, after setting up camp, climbed up to a high point to observe the people in the hollow below us. I don't know what we were expecting to see. We just got a certain feeling about the place, especially since my father and his parents looked at each other the way they did when we mentioned it. We watched the people in the community below us until nightfall. We saw the same people we'd seen before, the man splitting wood with an axe in his yard, the same kids playing, and the same people sitting on their porches. As the sun went down, we saw these people going inside their homes. We found it odd that they didn't turn on any lights, but we figured that with their primitive lifestyles, they probably just went to bed every evening as soon as it got dark and woke up with the sun each morning. They lit no fires because it was summer. With nothing to see here, as the cynics would say, Timmy and I returned to our campsite and went to sleep ourselves. But not for long. A short while after we'd fallen to sleep, we heard the sound of footsteps, a lot of them. We unzipped the tent and peered out, and we saw what appeared to be all the people who lived up the hollow coming toward our tent. I could recognize the man who'd been splitting wood. There were the children we'd seen playing in the yard and the people who'd been sitting on the porches. At first, Timmy and I thought they were going to call us out for trespassing, or perhaps let us know they'd seen us spying on them and that they hadn't taken kindly to it. But we were wrong. As soon as the people got to the wide spot where the road ended, they vanished. Not all at once, but one by one. Timmy and I both rubbed tired eyes. It couldn't have been our imaginations because we'd both seen the same thing, and imaginations can't work that way. We didn't sleep a wink for the rest of the night. It was too dark to go home. We were too far away to gallivant through the woods at night. We'd be sure to break a leg or worse. So, as terrified as we were, we waited until morning to pack up and leave, which we did, and we did not go to get a look at the hollow people. When we got home, Dad was waiting on us. He was reading the newspaper on the front porch. Catch any fish, he asked. Nope, Timmy and I said in unison. Hard to catch fish when you ain't fishing, Dad said, not looking up from his paper. Timmy and I said nothing. Then Dad said, I knew where you were. Timmy and I remained silent. Dad neatly folded his paper and then placed it beside him on the porch swing. Figured I'd just let your curiosity get the best of you so you'd go see for yourself, he then said. You wouldn't have believed me if I'd have told you. Told us what? Timmy and I asked. Get in the car, Dad said, rising and walking toward the car. We followed and did as he said. Dad drove down the road about 8 miles, and then he turned up an old road that you'd have to be looking for not to miss. The road led all the way to the top of the mountain where it leveled out. On top of the mountain, Dad slowed his pace. We looked around at what appeared to be about 8 houses or so, or at least what used to be 8 houses. They were now simply foundations, and we could tell that what had been houses had burned to the ground. Though there were trees growing through what used to be living rooms and kitchens, and vines scrambling up chimneys, the evidence of former houses was still clearly visible. Where are we? I asked. We're up your hollow, Dad said. Can't be, Timmy said. Sure is, Dad said. Where are all the people? I asked. I'll show you, Dad said, and he continued driving past where the last house had stood before burning down, to the wide spot at the end of the road, the very wide spot where Timmy and I had camped. A wide spot that we could now clearly see was a graveyard, marked with a few dozen headstones. Nothing big or fancy, but headstones all the same. Who's buried here? I asked. The folks who lived up this hollow, Dad said. We all sat staring at the headstones as the car idled. No one got out. When was the fire? Timmy asked. Back in the 1950s, Dad said. I was a little younger than you boys. I remember it well. How did it happen? I asked. Gas leak, Dad said. They'd been drilling for gas up here, running it into the lines to pump the town below. The ground just cracked open in the wrong place, they say, and one of the fires in the fireplace of one of the homes set the whole kit and caboodle on fire. Whole community burned. Happened in the dead of night, and there weren't any survivors. Timmy and I said nothing. Dad turned the car around, and we began heading back to my grandparents' place. Halfway down the mountain, I asked Dad why he hadn't told us when we told him we'd found the community. Like I said, he said, I knew you wouldn't believe me unless you saw it yourself. And you never questioned us, Timmy asked? When we told you about the people we'd seen, why didn't you question us? Because, Dad began. Like I said, the fire happened when I was a little younger than you boys. We waited for Dad to continue. When he did, he said, when I was just a little older than you boys are now, I came up here and I saw them too. The houses, the people, the man splitting wood, the kids playing in the yard, the folks sitting on the porches. What did you do? I asked. I mean, you would have known what it was. I never came back, Dad said. Not until now. This is the first time I've been up this hollow in more than 30 years. Kevin, I spent a few more summers going back to my grandparents' place in Kentucky. Up until they died, actually, when I was in college. Timmy never went back with me, nor did I ever go back up to that hollow community again. Please keep up the great work you do with your YouTube channel and all your writing. I'm particularly fond of your October Nights books. They make October so much more interesting. Your viewer, Jonathan Kennedy. The end. Mr. Kennedy, thank you so much for your story. I know you sent it months ago. I haven't been working on that true haunting stuff because I've been working on that other project, but like I said, I'm back at it because I have writer's block with the project. I'll get over it. I know I will. I just, it never lasts long. Well, except that one time when it lasted for 2 years. Wow. Like, I just felt the temperature drop by like 8 degrees, and it got dark. Oh, clouds covered the sun. Silly me. Crazy lake. All right, so remember, if you got a creepy story you want in an upcoming volume 4 if you get it in time, True Hauntings, submit it to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. Follow me at TikTok. If you do TikTok, it's Sick Twisted Humor, like the Facebook page. I want to thank all of you if you're part of the 662,000, I think, people over there now, and part of 315,000 here. And Dearly's running the Homesteading Off the Grid Facebook page. I think that's up to 60,000. More than 1 million. Never thought it would happen. Probably could have pushed and made it happen sooner, but like I said, man, I know how blessed I am to be where I'm at. The only reason I'm doing the whole TikTok thing is because I don't like other people stealing my stuff and putting it out there on the internet and getting paid for it. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for the story you wrote and let me read on the internet. It's going to be in True Hauntings Volume 4. See y'all for more next time.